Welcome, welcome everyone. Welcome to this event. So glad you could join us, and I really hope that you will learn something interesting from today's proceedings. The event is organized jointly by Center for Intelligent Systems, Tallinn University of Technology, and IEEE Estonia section, Young Professionals Affinity Group. So my name is Alexei, and I will be the primary host for today's event. So before we get to the two main attractions, which is company presentations, which is the first part, we will have 4 presentations in total. We will have 3 presenters doing this thing here live, and then 1 connecting remotely. And the second attraction is the panel, which I'm really looking forward to, which is about the AI explosion and what it means for all of us, basically. So the first presentation is by me, actually. For 10 minutes, I will just briefly give you an overview of what IEEE is, those who don't know, and also concerning our activities here in Estonia as part of like this, these events and whatnot. So let's start there. A few words about myself. So I already said that I'm Alexei. I'm a senior research scientist from Center for Intelligent Systems, obviously. In Talltech, I also work part-time in a company. This is not mentioned here. I should update the slides. But that's my credentials. Also dealing quite a bit with extended reality technologies. Senior member of the IEEE, if that means anything to anyone. But I mean, we're here for some purpose, so that might be relevant. Also, my teams over here. And you can contact me like this. So what is IEEE? Why maybe you want to care about this? So IEEE stands for Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. It's an American organization with quite a few years of history. And here in Estonia, we have so-called IEEE Estonia section. And it's part of larger OU, which is R8, Region 8. So basically, IEEE is behind a lot of different technical developments. You may have heard about them, like, for instance, if you check to design the USB standard, or maybe the Wi-Fi standard. So these guys are behind that. And apart from that, also some other developments as well. So, and specifically, IEEE Young Professionals is an affinity group within this organizational unit. We call them OUs. And the purpose of Young Professionals is, of course, to gather young professionals together, to give them different opportunities, like through today's event, for example. We try to connect people from industry with students and vice versa. So, and we also organize different workshops, like, for instance, on this picture, you can see we used to have this recreation lab, which was dedicated to development of XR and research of XR applications. And we had a workshop there, actually quite a few of them. So just an example of that. And a few more pictures, I guess. Oh, yes. So this is not the first event in this series. So previously we have organized this, let's say, Academy to Industry event. I think that was 2018. So that was quite a ways back. Now we have this follow-up, and hopefully we can now do this more often. So we have a kind of system going on here. So there was this kickoff, and basically what we're doing today is we just do it in the same kind of way, except now we also added a panel for additional attraction to you guys. And blah, blah, blah. Okay. So there was, we also collected feedback, and so a lot of people liked this event, apparently, so it met their expectations. Hopefully the same will be for you. If not, you can later write to me and complain. So a lot of people actually enjoyed the organization, but again, if anyone has any comments after the event, please let them know. We're always aiming to improve. And what, as a representative of IEEE, what makes me happy is, of course, that people, after they experienced our event. They were very happy with IEEE as well. So especially for students, if you're a student and you then can join IEEE for a relatively small charge, up to something like 25 euros. Maybe if you're a PhD student, you can knock it out with your supervisor. So it really makes a lot of sense because, for example, this specific event, we actually got funded by IEEE Young Professionals. So we got from the, let's say, central office from them some money to organize this. So, and if you're a member of IEEE Young Professionals Affinity Group here in Estonia, then you can also apply for funding in the same way. So this applies to everyone. The funding is so-so, but something like 500 euros you can definitely get from them. And it should be enough for hosting an event of similar scale. So some other events as well. So we've regularly had collaboration with something else that we're doing here, which is called Unreal Talent, which is a community that deals with Epic Games as Unreal Engine. So we have a community here in Tallinn that actually quite a large community, to be honest. I think latest I checked, it was more than 250 members already in this community. So it's growing actually. And last time I will share a couple of pictures. We have a full house basically people, which I really like to see. So if you follow our developments, you will also may be interested in taking note of these events if you're interested in game development or serious game development or things like this. Some pictures, I think this is where this was our kickoff meeting back in 2018 as well. And a couple of people from this picture you will actually listen to today, so they have achieved quite some good results. And they will deliver that to us as well. Tell us about all this stuff. So these are mostly from these game dev events as well. This is Oleg. This is co-organizer with Unreal Meetup. And this is our last event where we had full house, and this was really inspiring to see so many people there. I even made a tutorial myself during one of these meetings, which is unheard of, but okay. So in any case, you see here, we also have this nice banner as well, which has this important link. And if you follow this link, you will arrive at the following website. So here you can learn more about IEEE Young Professionals Estonia, if you're interested. And I recently also updated this webpage a little bit. So here you also get to meet the organizers, one of them speaking right now. The other one, unfortunately, could not arrive today, but he's online. So if you have any questions to anyone, you can ask. And also here you can see our past events that we have posted, and probably it gets as a kind of theme here that mostly what we're doing as part of our activities are hosting events, and that is true. So as part of IEEE, mostly what we're doing is we are bringing the community together. This is our main motivation, so that we can get people together and offer them some catering and then just some useful information while we are at it as well. But apart from just gaming development, also some stuff related to research. So if anyone is interested in that, we also have like topical workshops that are co-sponsored by IEEE Young Professionals. Also some general stuff like we have this guy over here, Concise Introduction to Git. Also for writing people who write a lot. Okay, now there's ChatGPT, of which we will be speaking today. But in order to format all this stuff, you may want to use some interesting software, which we also had a specific event about. And by the way, here there's also a recording, so you can watch it if you want. Okay, so some partners are listed here, blah blah blah. So let us know if you're interested. So my time is almost up. At this point, I would like to welcome the first speaker for today's company representations. Yes, you. So Maksimilian Tarasevich, everyone. He's head of local. So he's head of local Valmet office, and today we'll be speaking about Valmet Automation and all the rest. That's all. Yes. So now let's
Let me open my presentation. The first question: do you hear me well? Okay. No.
There's a microphone here.
Okay. Yeah, I know, but oh.
Turn on.
So better? No. No.
You see, nobody cared about what I was speaking
yes,
about.
okay. Oh, bad luck.
Screen is still being shared.
No.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. This, yeah.
Please, the floor is yours.
So once again, hello everyone. It is a pleasure to see not so many, but still young and bright faces here today in such a beautiful event place. So I hope that the main purpose for today is not only to enjoy free snacks and coffee, isn't it? No. You still have option to left this room. Okay. So let's get started. My name is Maksimilian Tarasevich, and I'm proud to represent today Valmet Automation company. And I'm working. I have been working for Valmet Automation company for almost 6 years, and I started as service engineer here in Estonia, and now I'm in position of country manager for all 3 Baltic states: Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. For the next 15 minutes, I will entertain you by discussing what means Valmet, what we are doing, what our main offering, and also we will have at the end of this presentation we will have section for your questions and hopefully my answers. So let's get started again. Valmet is a Finnish company, and before we delve into discussing what we are doing today, I would like to take a look at our history. Valmet has a long and extensive and interesting history. We started operating over than 220 years ago as a producer of paper machines in Tampere. It is one of the biggest cities in Finland. Throughout these years, we tried our hand at producing washing machine, weapons, different clothes, cars, trains, and aircrafts. You still can find some pictures of in Google of tractors with Valmet logo, but please forget about it. It's not anymore our product in our portfolio. Actually, when I started, when I got this invitation to participate in some recruitment process in Valmet, I started to Google it, and I found only this picture of tractor. It was terrible. But nowadays, we changed the situation. So if we are talking about Valmet Automation, our journey into automation began with development of black box for aircraft in 1942. And after, we decided to use aircraft measuring system for paper machines. And from this time, we also produce or develop our own automation system for DCS system for big plants and mills. Also, all these years, we have been coping with new challenges and systematically and continuously develop our products. And we are still increasing our market share in relevant fields. But who we are now? Actually, if we are talking about Valmet, Valmet is a global supplier of technology, automation, and services for such fields as pulp and paper production, energy, marine, process technology, dairy and food industry. We hold leading position in many of these fields, but we are very proud of leading in paper industry. We always #1 around the world. So in Valmet, in our company, work more than 70,000 professionals around the world. We have quite many production units, service center, and 28 R&D centers. We are presented almost in all countries and almost at all continents. So I always present Valmet R&D slide because I think it's good stuff. That good, like we use that we invest quite much money to R&D all years, and actually for you, for future Valmet employees, what does it mean actually? If you want to take a part of development of new products, new technologies, then we are the company where you will obviously have something to do. So in my personal opinion, one of the best indicators of companies' reliability and success is its customers of clients. As you see here, we have quite many global companies in our customer base, starting from BP, Neste, Fortum, and ending Stora Enso and Mondi and many others around the world. So, Valmet in Baltic countries. In Baltic countries, we have 2 offices, one in Tallinn, Estonia, and the second one in Kaunas, Lithuania. Our team consists of 6 professionals, 5 here locally in Tallinn, and 1 service engineer of Aivaras Pilelis works in Kaunas, Lithuania. Our team not a big one, but full of professional and experience. What we are offering as Valmet company, we are always say that we are not sell products directly or only products. We are work together with our customers to enhance their performance. Actually, what it means that we prioritize long-term partnerships and leveraging our knowledge and experience in various fields, provide our customers and partners with comprehensive support and high-level technologies. I'm always presenting financial performance slides here, and why so? First of all, we live all in a capitalist system, and we have to know basic financial measures like profitability level and return on capital employed. As you see here on this slide, we have quite good percentage, quite good financial measures, and we are proud to share them. Also, these slides we can use as an evidence of our success. It means that our approach, how to work with our customers, gives all benefits. We are growing continuously all last 10 years, mostly. Valmet Automation, as I mentioned before, our office in Tallinn is responsible for automation systems, and it's our main part here. We offer everything you need to automate, analyze, and optimize systems of any complexity. We offer automation system for small boilers, starting from wastewater treatment plants and to big ferries. Also, we have some solutions for paper and pulp mills. We produce our own components and use our own software software almost for all automation nodes. And let's focus today on the foundation only. Foundation for all these solutions in our quite big portfolio, it is the automation system, Valmet DCS control system. Yes, and I forgot to mention that we have quite many products, but we have limited time, and I will talk about only automation system. So here you see Valmet DNA infrastructure, which consists of different nodes. Here we see, just a second. Here we see process control station or controllers. They are connected to input-output cards and collect and process data from the field. So we have a backup unit to store backups, alarm station to generate alarms. We also have engineering station or engineering server. It is needed to make changes in the configuration and programs of automation system. And info server to collect and store data, process data. So also one of the most important parts of every automation system, it is control room. Here we have quite many different options how to use it, how to provide some interface for operators. We have a name for this, it's ops or operator station. We have 3 levels how we can present data. First level, let's say the dashboard level. Here we present only main and general actual values and targets, mostly for management board to understand what metrics we have to achieve. Also, the second level, it is about process control data. Here we present the main data we have collected from the field. And the last level, third one, it is device level, when you need to obtain only some certain device data. So let's present some basic examples where such system are used in Estonia. First of all, it is a Tallinn company. Tallinn company has 2 flagships, Megastar and MyStar, LNG powered ferries between Tallinn and Helsinki. Also, one of our customers is Green Eesti company. They have 2 big power plants in Pärnu and Tartu to provide heat and electricity. And the last example for today, it is Enefit Green company. This power plant is located near Tallinn, like I think 15 kilometers from the center. And this plant has 2 units, waste to energy and gas boiler unit, and produce electricity and heat energy for Lasnamäe and Old Town. Now let's go to the really interesting stuff. Skills that your future employer is looking for. As someone who has been involved in many recruitment processes, I can give you understanding, or I can provide you with a glimpse of what looks like this process from the another side. So we all know that CV is important, and especially its content, but only for primary filtration. When you need to select from 20 only 5 best, you check the CV only. You don't have these face-to-face meetings. You cannot have personal contact with a candidate. So my suggestion is just avoid making mistakes and please keep the same fonts and formatting of your document. I think there obviously some special place in hell for those people who use 2 or 3 different fonts in the same document. Please avoid it. Also, when Alexei asked me to provide some overview about skills needed or what skills we are looking for, it was a complicated task. and I decided to check my photos on my mobile phone from early years at Valmet company. So here is my top list of these skills. First of all, don't be afraid to learn something new, especially when you have to configure and tune some new things and you don't have any experience. You have to use Google, different manuals, and not be afraid to test it. Here you see some industrial network devices from Cisco and Moxa. Be prepared for challenging working conditions. Sometimes the working conditions are quite dirty. Here you see wet end of paper machine in Klaipėda. Sometimes you don't have a comfortable and ergonomic chair, but even sometimes you don't have chair at all. Be attentive to details. It is crucial skill to be able to check all work and find some not stupid mistake, but still mistakes, because sometimes you can spend many hours just to find out which one wire is wrong. So be able to count up to 8. It's not a joke, because it's very significant to be sure that you disconnect from power supply certain controller. You have maximum 8 controllers in one industrial cabinet, and the second side looks, it is easy to calculate, but from back side it's not so clear. Be prepared to make difficult decisions and choose the next beverage in the event of these customers, because you have limited time. Also, it's an important skill to be ready to support your colleagues and ask support from them. I think it's the most important skill you have to present to your future employer, because nobody likes employees who doesn't ask questions, even if these questions are quite stupid. So the best part of work is to represent your company. Here you see some event christening of Meister vessel. We had a party with our president, Kersti Kerulait, previous president, and some event in Norway. And also be able to use measuring tools. Do you see something? No? Just a second. Okay. Who can say me what temperature we have here?
I think it's broken.
It
In the video.
video is broken, okay, but it's more slow.
Actually, I was told that these are not very accurate. Challenges the presentation.
You guess?
It's average.
Average, yes, exactly, from 20 to 120. Yeah, okay, nice. Yeah. So, please check our opportunities, or I don't know, for open position and different options for summer trainee programs worldwide, not only in Estonia, using this web page. It's easy to find, just Google it. And that's all from on my behalf. Do you have any questions about my presentation?
So, point is that now you know the local guy to turn to. But any questions? They're like, we're still on time.
On time.
So yes, so I think that if you have some questions for us now, you can ask him during the coffee break.
I would suggest to try it. It was very nice. Yes. I don't, but our R&D thinking all the time. We have several solutions using machine learning methods for web diagnostics. I mean, paper web, when you need to analyze this paper because it's moving at very high speed. Also, we use some machine learning methods for analyzing data from boilers from different complicated processes. Is it possible question? Yes. We already have them, I believe. In Estonia, we have only service and capital sales centers, but in Finland, I don't have relevant information. I know that we are working on it, but
so I think it's a good idea to distinguish between just a company use machine and also like the person use, like the one that you're able to probably discuss
later. Yes,
like something like ChatGPT or this other AI tools. So definitely people are using those, but the company-wide or specifically like let's say automation processes. I mean, of course, but maybe not so much.
Actually, if we are talking about Estonia, we don't use any interesting solution because many of our customers would like to use some reliable methods.
I think this is something to consider in the future, but
okay. Yes.
So thanks again. Thanks to the speaker.
Thank you, Maximilian, for such a good overview, and you already opened my slides even.
Okay. Yeah, so our next presenter is Vjatseslav Antipenko. He's head of IoT group in Telia, and he will be speaking about that shortly. So
yeah, I'll be speaking of about something. Let's see if this that actually works. I wonder if no, that doesn't work. No. No, I think I'll be standing here then. Okay. Hi all. I'll warn you, I'll be asking questions and I expect answers to those, even if they are wrong answers, so don't be shy. First question is what kind of like level of education are we here at? How many of you are bachelors? Are there any? Cool. 3. How many of you are masters? And PhDs? Impressive. Impressive. Very good. Very good. Are there anyone that's not pursuing anything and just here for the fun? We have those as well. Really nice. Okay, so yeah, as Alexei already mentioned, I'm Vjatseslav Antipenko. I'm head of IoT at Telia Estonia. And today I'll present you whatever Telia is, hopefully to get some reflection from you as well on what is actually from your perspective Telia, because I think there are multiple of services that you might not have even heard that we produce or do. And we'll see where it goes in terms of those qualities or the skills that the people or the young professionals should have. I think Maximilian had a very good conclusion on that, especially the last option. But for the introduction, let's look at some promotional material, right? Because we're a corporation, and the corporation has videos and everything that present themselves. Let's see if it will work. No, it will not. Then we will not look at that. It's as easy as that. So Telia Estonia is actually part of Telia company, which was founded long back, way back before my birth time, probably yours as well. We are currently present in the whole of Scandinavia and Balticum, but actually, if maybe you have heard, we were in the region of Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan and those countries as well. But I believe it was like something maybe 5 years back when we sold off that business. and focused on this region specifically. That to some extent actually eases up the legislation and everything, because the regions are quite different, and doing business throughout different regions does give some complexity to the process and everything. There's some shareholders information as well if you're interested in that, but overall it doesn't really, I think, matter to today's presentation. What maybe is more interesting is, as I mentioned, that Telia Estonia is part of Telia company, but Telia Estonia comes from EMT and Elion, which were actually the initial companies founded in Estonia. And how many of you, for instance, that both EMT and Elion were actually founders or initial founders of the construction of this same building and the founders of IT College as a whole? Did anybody know? Okay, 1. Good. 2. Great. Yeah, so we have done some share of investment into the Estonian economy and development as a whole. Probably you think of us as a regular telecommunications operator, and I don't think why you shouldn't, because our main services are mobile, broadband, and TV. But before I go on, can anybody name another service that has been developed by us or is provided by us? Does anybody know whatsoever? Just pick something. IoT is yeah, that's clever of you. But anybody else? What? Electric vehicle, something? No, but it's a good guess. It's a good guess. Oh. Yeah, communication. Yeah, we in that sense we provide lots of communication to lots of subsystems, but I meant specifically maybe some other services that you actually use on a daily basis that you are not even aware of, that are developed by Telia. Data centers is one of the sub-services that is part of IT. Okay. That's good. Yeah, I was hoping rather to hear something like Alexei just mentioned, that MTASCO was one of the services that we developed. The idea behind MTASCO was relatively simple: to have payment methods and partner cards in one application, and then simply use your phone to identify yourself and pay in different shops. But we actually sold that business off. What? That's part of IoT. In that sense, we were part of the solution that I constantly mess them up. Either Electrilevy or Elering rolled out some 10 years back the first automation on that kind of scale in Estonia of reading electricity meters. That's yes. Okay, but then let's see what we'll have. So obviously our main focus is the consumer business with mobile, broadband, TV, etc. And you might have noticed that we are market leaders in all of those. Nothing to brag of, but the numbers speak of themselves, right? But maybe the more interesting picture will be next one, where I'll answer all those services that I wanted to actually pick from here, that are developed by EMT already and previously. So, okay, the mobile component, the SMS services, that's logical. But how many of you actually use plugin.tv app? Do you know? Some are, yeah. So that's basically developed by us, and the service providers are we. Okay, 3G is logical. How many of you know that we actually were developing mobile IT solution? Yeah, it was I believe SK solution or something like this, but we were part of it. Yeah. Then there was the MTASCO and etc. But there are actually lots of services that are missing here that are more related to IT and financing and actually analytics. It's not that we provide all of those services out of our house. Lots of the services are provided in the house itself as well. So, for instance, we actually have a massive amounts of data that we analyze on a even maybe daily basis to provide a better service to you and to get more money from you, and so on. And there are lots of IT services that actually we provide to the small and medium-sized businesses throughout all of Estonia. Some corporate BS, of course, but it is actually true. We do invest globally in the Estonia's network as a whole, and of course, being a big corporation in Estonia does give some implications. We need to take into account the different global political powers that are moving. And for instance, we were one of the first in Estonia to accept the sustainability framework and to measure specific, not to measure, but to put specific goals onto our development path and to be eventually environmentally sustainable. And for instance, what do you think? How are we going to achieve that? Do you have any ideas? Yeah. Yes, good. You've probably read about it somewhere. Yeah, that's one of the steps. Specifically after the last year's skyrocketed prices on the energy levels and etc. But besides that, actually, those solar panels provide reliability to those space stations as well. Most of our data centers are also provided with solar energy and etc. And of course, within our partner network, we do track whether there is some ethical implications or whether the waste management is according to the legislation and or not. What some examples of other services that we actually provide. Okay, these we went through. Those are mostly consumer-oriented services that you actually all probably use in one form or the other. What don't usually come to the big screen or don't get that much attention is actually that we are quite big player in the IT sphere in Estonia as well, and not in the specifically development of different applications, but rather the maintenance and supporting. So one of the services that we actually provide is to basically provide to the business customer a full IT service with renting of workstations, management accounts, and all the systems that come with it. So basically, the small company doesn't need to think about it fully, but can implement and take it as a service from us, for instance. And oh yeah, that's there's the IoT part as well, from which I come actually. Yeah. And since telecom operators historically rely massively on different devices, then of course we operate in the reseller business and refurbishing business, and also with the financing of all of those devices. So hopefully that kind of gave you an overview of what Telia actually is, and that it's not simply the mobile network that you use on a regular basis, but we actually have lots and lots of more different services and technologies implemented in the house. Maybe specifically today during my presentation, I didn't so much focus on the young professional skills and soft and hard skills that you might be relevant within your future career endeavors. But I encourage you to simply come to me and ask if you have some specific questions about how to actually maybe find work in such organization, or what do you think or fear the most when applying to such organizations as Telia. And that's about all from my side. Do you have questions now already, maybe?
So what I can also comment on is that it was 2002, 2000. There was one university instructor its industry program, and choose Telia as a partner that have the discussion. So the guys from different departments. So actually, if I really think hard, they can remember all the services. Especially in hospitals.
Yeah.
So I'm so enjoying for like it's so cool. So, but what I can say is that these guys are actually because hello, 1, 2, 3. And so the guys there are actually quite nice, and they have all the information they need. So also have some connection with them. Still, so if you're interested in learning more about Telia, you can either
Ask me or Google career Telias or career at Telia or something.
Yes, and you can also ask me.
Yeah.
Just more entry points.
Yeah, and if you have questions, use the time, ask me, ask others. It will help you, definitely.
I have a
Yeah.
general question. To say it's the most important skill you have today that you use in your everyday job.
I think it's hard to say which skill specifically. I could definitely characterize it as one of the soft skills, and it's the category of taking up with the shit that happens on a day-to-day basis, because things don't happen the way you plan them or wish them to happen. So the nerve to go through all of the things that might go wrong in terms of development, in terms of plan, in terms of like overall things. People get sick, people move, people mess up, and that's why I think that one of the most important ones. And then definitely being open-minded in terms of search, in terms of simply how things work, why they work this way. So I would say those things.
So soft skills over.
I think those technical skills are very important, but since like you can't bypass communication with other people, there are some people in our organization that are extremely technical savvy, but communicating with them is really hard, and they are only technical. They are so good professionals, so you need to like be very, very deep them to so that other will bear your or tolerate your behavior. Otherwise, communication is very important.
Thank you.
And just to maybe add a few words to that, so the soft skills are really important, specifically for the reason that I may be really proficient in a certain field, but then when you go to the company, they might have their own workflows and pipelines and all that stuff that require constant communication with other guys. So this is where the soft skills come in, actually. But they might have some issues, so you don't have to know everything. Just go there and learn. So for that, we do need to speak.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. So let's take this opportunity and move on to the final speaker. Last but by no means the least, Siim Täkker is CEO of RA Technologies. And let me just start sharing one more time. I also need to download the presentation, so give me one moment.
I can already start.
Okay, sure.
Oh, thanks. Hello, everybody. Great to be back in the university again. I've been here for a while, even though back in my university days, I studied quite a lot, and I also worked quite a lot. And I've been happy or lucky to actually study in 3 different universities across the planet. So I studied here in Tallinn University of Technology, in all university, and in Japan, the University of Electrical Communications. And in every university, the study culture was a little bit different. The problems were a little bit different, and my disciplinarity was a little bit different. So I come from real estate, like from civil engineering faculty, and ended up in deep electronics studies. And so it's quite diverse, and I've been very happy to study all of these different disciplinarities. At one point, I was also thinking if I should go for PhD or do something else. And I really love engineering, problem solving, and I have also this entrepreneurial disease in me. So I ended up building a company. It's called RA Technologies. I've been building it with my university friends for more than 6 years. And so great to see many people as well who are still working every day, and we have many university developments going on as well. So what we do is we are developing and deploying across Europe today most advanced AI control system for large commercial buildings. And what's the thing with these commercial buildings, and even with these buildings, as you can hear this sound right now, there's some AC unit on right now. Should it be on this full power, or should that be maybe this room pre-cooled, so we wouldn't hear this sound right now? So these are some of the examples that AI can help us to solve. And we have given a name as well to the AI solution. We have named it Jamie. So AI system is really abstract, kind of some code running somewhere, right? Doing something. But the AI is something that we want to give more tangible feeling, and then we try to correlate it with people. We try to correlate it with humanoid, like a thing, and we like to say it's a technical assistant. So technical assistant is already something that is tangible, and therefore we have given this humanoid look, even though it's fully digitalized. And just a couple of examples as well. So introducing the companies founded in 2017 with the university, by the university graduates. And we thought we are the best people who know how to solve major problems. And it's quite hard, right? And some previous presenters were also telling that you really need to build products that people want and people want to buy. And then usually that means that you have to get feedback from people. And you have to get the users as fast as possible, bring out the solution and see how fast it works and does it actually answer to the people's need. Early days, we had a lot of experience working with simulations. Down the line, real life is actually more complicated. It's not so beautiful. There's a huge mess of some sensors are not showing reliable information. Some actuators are not moving something the way they should. Some valve or some tamper that should be open, it got stuck. And nobody knows that it's stuck, and so on and so on. So we have right now client base across Europe. And we are also moving soon to Japan and also have plans to go into the US. So huge goals, and this is the HQ is located in Estonia, but we have a global reach. And the problem with these buildings is that I a little bit touched that there were these kind of damper issues, actuators, sensor issues. You have also pumps issues. You have a lot of fans. Like these modern buildings nowadays consist of thousands or even tens of thousands of components, and there's so much information accumulated into these systems that it's basically untangible for people to make sure that all the systems are running the most efficiently all the time. And just to even comprehend what is in the data. So the industry today provides a lot of tools to people to visualize, get this information into one dashboard. But what we are after for is that we really need to use AI to put the data to action right away. So I like to, when I think about the AI system, then whatever AI system is, I think like one of the biggest problems that it's solving is that there's so much data, it's huge amount of data, and it's really difficult to comprehend and get the information that you want really fast, want action-based data. So what if we have the most advanced AI system solving the major global crises or problems that we have? Are they so severe, or is it something that can be done? So this is at least what we are trying to solve with building technical systems, heating, ventilation, air conditioning systems, and their related automation. And one of the problems as well is that, just to give a little bit more like context, is that there's always about this balance between energy efficiency and there's balance between good indoor climate, healthy indoor climate. So it's very easy to have buildings consuming very little amount of energy when we just turn everything off. Turn off the heating, we turn off the ventilation, the air conditioning, and what will happen, right? People feel really uncomfortable in buildings, right? It's going to be really cold when it's winter, it's going to be really hot when it's summer, and people are complaining that there's no air, right? So that's one of the things that we're solving with AI is to find this perfect balance point, and hey, having a tool for the facility management to actually say what is the perfect indoor climate. We do it quite simply, integrating with all the modern automation systems, aggregating information, provide the necessary reporting, because all clients really want the reporting, right? We don't like so much reporting, but all clients really appreciate the reporting to understand also what is going on. And then having an AI-based proactive automation control. Yeah, it's simple to launch, simple to get going. Just to give a little bit more context, so about the problem that we are solving. So it's based on the heating system. So what is it? That's some mechanical system. But actually, within like modern commercial buildings, there's a lot of complexity brought by different heating circuits, different cooling circuits, different ventilation units. They all have their own small uniqueness. It's about the granularity on the room level, on the system level, and so on. So it's actually, the systems are really big. And approximately 40% of the global CO2 emissions are actually coming from the real estate. So this industry is like enormous, and it has even a bigger footprint than the whole transportation sector. Just giving another example that I was talking about, this pre-cooling of this room. Hey, what if we would have pushed the temperature down so that we wouldn't have the noise from the AC right now during the presentation? Then that's one of the problems that we can solve. Okay, we know that this room is going to be occupied approximately this amount of people. The system will drive the indoor climate in a comfortable level, so that people, once they're in the room, they feel really comfortable and nice. And this is on a bigger scale, looking at all the systems all together. And I don't know who remembers last year, 17th of August. Do you know what day was it? Ah, you know, who else? Who knows? What was the day? Yes, the price, electricity price, like enormously high. It was like 4,000 euros per 1 megawatt hour. Just a few years back, 1 megawatt hour cost like 40 euros, right? But 100 times increase, right? So we were like shocked, right? Everybody was shocked. And we asked from our clients, hey, what should Jenny do on that hour? And then, because, you know, Jenny was confused. And this was definitely extraordinary, right? Jenny has never seen this kind of data. No idea what should happen. So the client's feedback was turn off everything that you can, but leave the things that are necessary for, you know, life or so nothing like emergency happens. Just you know, bare minimum what you can push it to. And what happened was that, you know, for that hour, Jenny prepared Climate already in the mornings, used cheaper hours, and that moment when this really high price came, everything was turned up. You know what was the worst part? The worst part was that in the power grid there was actually on that hour more production than consumption. So everybody, even myself, I went home. I turned off everything. You know, and that was the clock, all backed up, right? And so there was overproduction in the power grid, and the power grid operator would have wanted that guys turn everything back on, right? We can't keep the power grid in balance. Somebody needs to start consuming something, and so that's like a contradiction, right? On one side, the power grid has so much energy that needs to be consumed. On the other side, people don't want to consume because it's so expensive, right? So there are these kind of combinations, and this kind of energy sector that we see today will be fundamentally changed in the next 10 years. There will be a lot more clean energy. Let's say it's going to be a cloudy day. Today in Estonia, there's around 500 megawatts of solar power with installation. Imagine when it's going to be a cloudy day, right? So electricity production will be jumping up and down, up and down, up and down. And something, there needs to be systems that actually absorb it and react to it. And it can't be only on the production side, but there needs to be something happening also on the consumer side. Because consumers are ultimately the ones that will have to react to it. So that's what we are also building. We are building, and that's what the chain is also equipped with, is to talk with the power grid, talk with the systems, the technical systems, understand what's in the climate, prepare, use the reserve, and transform it as it's necessary. And just another example, that's one ventilation unit console. You can see that normally, if you have a really classical system, really reliable, really quality system, but not so efficient, then you would be seeing like quite stable performance. But with AI, you will be seeing that there will be fluctuations which are driven then by different input parameters. Yeah, and these clients really love reporting and want to see what's actually going on, right? They really love it. And then different values that we provide and different groups that we are working with. And then this is about the switchable plant that we have as well. Simple software update, activation, and clients can actually earn money because power grid is today paying money to the consumers if they react to the changes. And that's it. I have more slides, more data, but I think that's good enough. Thank you. Any questions? Yeah. So modern automation systems have APIs, and we use them. We use APIs. And we are very good in using APIs. We love APIs. I think everything is an API. Or if it's not yet, then it's a good thing. Yeah, do you know what's that you get? Okay, no. Yeah. Yeah, then we do usually this kind of uh, compliance or compatibility check. Like, does it have a modern automation system? If it's yes, then you're good to go. And if it's not, then usually there's some investments needed from the building owner side. So then, but there are very good automation companies like ABB, Siemens, Schneider Electric. They can all add their stuff there, and then you can make sure that this hardware, the installation is running really efficiently. Yeah, so it's simple. So, like, I remember, like when we started, then we had like number of things that we were like, where do we want to be? What's the software gonna be like? As you're like a starting company, I'm not talking like 6 years back, right? Then we were like, we have to be scalable, right? So the quality, reliability, these things were also important, but they were less important than we were always weighing our decisions. Is it now scalable solution or not? And even today, we are making a lot of decisions. Is it now scalable? What's the coverage within our portfolio that where we can unleash this new algorithm or this new patch? And that has been driving our company for many years. So, and by doing this kind of decisions, we ended up using APIs and having no hardware installation, which is one of the crucial factors why we are now scaling across Europe. And it takes years to build like a good AI system, and I think we're still on the way to build it where we really want to be. And it's okay. Things develop, evolve, and things get refactored. I don't know, have you heard about this word? Refactoring? I sometimes hate this word already. When I hear our development guys say, "Oh, we have to refactor the code," I'm like, "Oh my god, how many features we gonna lose with it?" Right? Because you will be building systems, they build larger and larger, and then you have to be like, okay, I gotta build this software piece again, or we're gonna make it more modular. It has become huge monoliths. We have to get rid of it. So things evolve in time, and this is completely normal.
So there was a question. Hi. So regarding to the phase, and it's your company also looking for some new positions.
Yes, we are right now hiring.
Yes, in what positions? Skill levels.
All kinds of people. So there was also like this, like, I mean, like if you have like engineering background and you like really talking to people, and you find out that you have this small disease that you want to close things and do transactions, then you are a perfect salesperson. When you are, but when you really like engineering, then like there's a lot of backend stuff. Working on large data structures, really cool. People working on integrated systems, right? Integration software engineers. Then we have control software engineers. Then we have mechanical engineers who are now product-oriented people who are actually product owners. They kind of like take responsibility what is needed. There's people who can say really well what needs to be made and communicate it very, very clearly and cut it to pieces. Then you're a perfect product manager. Yeah, I guess I can keep on going. But fundamentally, one of the key things as well is that understanding large data sets and then understanding how to package it visually so people understand. I don't know if it makes sense, but what's the user interface going to be look like? How people can understand what is going on and how we can, make modifications so the clients understand and our internal people understand. So there's AI stuff that we do. There's controls. There's analytics. There's hardcore coding. I mean, there's mechanical engineering. There's sales. There's everything. We have everything. I like to say that we have a little bit like engineering paradise. We're covering so large spectrum of engineering that you never get bored.
Sorry, actually, I have two questions if I may. First, does the AI control directly the devices that you have, or it just gives recommendation to a person? Again, is there like a human in the loop?
Yeah.
Does it have everything?
There's both, right? Why is both? First, we really can't get rid of the people, even though we really want. Why do we need people? Because these technical systems are never perfect. There will always be some pump is not working, some sensor is not working, something is built, but it's not working the way it was meant to be built or as it was designed. So there's this technical technical improvements, technical features that need to be happening, and they're needed all the time. Now, AI control side, then yes, it's directly controlling, and we have like way the decisions along the way as well, so that it's minimal risk. Let's say the connection goes off because the system is in a cloud. Let's say there's no connection with this on-site automation anymore. What's going to happen, right? So if you control some switches remotely, then that's going to be really painful, right? Or if you're controlling some actuator, which is needed to be controlled in microseconds, right? You don't want to do that, right? But you want to maybe control some settings so that if the connection is lost, then the processes continue going on. So these are the fundamental things that we have decided along the way as well. We had some really huge founders as well back in the days, right? We had we were building user interface and trying to put a lot of technical maintenance styles into a UI. And we put there a lot of functionalities, meaning that they would adjust when some systems were working and when they shouldn't be working. And then what happened was we couldn't train all the people, and people did like we didn't do very well the training, and we didn't educate people well. And then what happened was that one of the largest hotels in Estonia was evacuated because the ventilation of the unit was off, and the kitchens started running on a full speed. You have to make the breakfast, right? And the whole building was evacuated because the fire alarm went off and all the fire trucks came, right? And yeah, so there are some bigger blunders you can make as well if your product design sucks. So yeah, a lot of considerations that need to be made as you're controlling real-time systems. Yeah.
My second question, if I may, if it's a bit related, there's a big trend right now that every decision made by an AI needs to be explained to the people. And I think even there's some regulation that enforces this. In your experience, do the customers care actually? Do they tell you why did the AI make the decision, or are they just happy that it's saving them money?
Depends on the customer. There's no straight answer, but usually customers want to buy reliable and transparent systems that they somewhat or somehow understand, or at least have the comfort that they can validate. And how we have built it is that we have this explainable layer as well, giving transparency of what kind of actions were made. And if they want, they can check. And usually no one checks. Or at least they know there's an user interface where they can find all answers. And that's really the comfort. And we've been thinking as well, because there's also this kind of technical guys, or we like to call them basement guys, or somewhere in the large shopping mall basement, right? They know a lot of stuff, right? Which AI doesn't know, or we don't know. And we've been thinking to build some gamifying this kind of user interface, so that these guys can also further, like, train the system, somehow give their input, make it really gaming experience that they want to, drive their rally as well. So this kind of co-pilot thing, we've been thinking about it because this is like a resource that can be used, right? Yeah, so this kind of thing.
Okay, so I see that we're tapping into some of the. We're tapping into some of these bigger problems, but right now we should have the content ready. So we will be setting up the panel over here. So thanks again to all the speakers. This is end of part 1. Hopefully it's in part 2, which should be very interesting. Right now we are going to be setting up, and see you soon. Yes. So the second part is something that I'm really excited about. This is a panel discussion on the topic of how does the AI explosion affect your current working processes and the future of the workplace. So I'm really, really excited to welcome also Professor Viktor Beldjajev, who will be moderating this session. And I will give the floor to him now so that he can organize the panel. Just one more thing is that our online guest could not join remotely for the panel, so I will be substituting him. And maybe that's also a good thing, because I'll give you perspective of what this AI stuff means from the perspective of the university to my best abilities. So please, Edward, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm also really excited, and I will do my best to moderate this panel discussion. So we prepare some questions, and would like to see your opinion and some discussion on the topic. So all the panelists of the session. So once again, starting from the left side, Siim Täkker from Marine Technologies, Vjatseslav Antipenko, Telia IT, head of IT, Valmet Automation CEO Maksimilian Tarasevich, and Alexei Petkov, senior researcher at the Center for Intelligent Systems. And last year it was he got title of the best lecturer of the university, so he will represent the academic side in our panel discussion. So now let me start. My first question will be, how has the adoption of artificial intelligence and other forms of automation changed the way you approach hiring, training, and maintaining workforce?
So I think we can start with that side. Because I'm holding the microphone, and I can discuss.
These people like a topic. If you hold microphone, you're speaking.
Okay, yeah, great. Great to talk again. I was just thinking, like, back in the days where we were just like a handful of people, and how the company has evolved over the years. Today, even more than 50 people are in the company, and it's like clear that when you're running with a really small team, you basically talk to face and you solve a lot of things really fast. The larger the organization will become, the more you need to be having a clarity on what is needed, what are the goals, why do we do that, and really need to have streamlined processes. And people need to be trained, and it's really hard to make some change. Like change related to maybe there's new sales slide, and when you have like 20 people in sales and everybody's working on remotely, just try to train that, deliver that one slide to everybody so that everybody knows exactly what that slide says, what's the new technical feature, what's the new thing, right? So there's need to be tools for that, and there's not only needed to have like really smart systems, but you just need to have some digitalized systems that people can use. And I think that it's not only needed to have like AI system, but you need to have like streamless data flow, and basically you have the digitalization of the processes within the company. And then at one point, when there's a lot of information already, you kind of can use that to fine tune the processes further on with AI. We are seeing it this way, the AI down the line, that in every part of the company process there will be AI, and even today I think like R8 is using to do our everyday business. I think we have like 30 to 50 software subscriptions, and all of these like CRM, like client relations management system, marketing systems, communication systems, all of these different platforms and systems to manage day-to-day business and operations, and all of them have different level of AI already embedded within them, right? So they give you recommendations. You try to write an email to somebody, and then it already recommends you the system, like what it should be, what is the best answer. I think it's evolving more. Today in recruitment, I think we are using AI to maybe polish a little bit the message with ChatGPT. What is, okay, we have this position name, what this position, what kind of correct, what is the best human type for it, right? We can use AI already to give answer. So when we're thinking really hard, what are the best soft skills, then I think like AI can answer to that. So just giving this kind of example, I've been talking too long, so I just give it forward.
Did anything change in Telia?
Before, a quick question to Siim, but you mentioned that you like kind of use ChatGPT in some text messages and so on, but is it like official company policy, or it's just everybody's using and you know it?
It's highly recommended to use ChatGPT for marketing and sales people. And I think that's I think like development guys, I don't know, maybe they use as well. Like I know that there have been some tests, especially like you can like delivers like quite good code when you state what you need quite well, and you can get things done really fast, right?
Yeah. Why I ask this, basically, it comes down to the difference of a startup and then a corporate organization, because I asked also officially we don't use any of those tools yet, but the HR responded basically that people themselves, the tools are open, so they can use and they probably are using, but the official statement is that no, we're not implementing anything, because if you look throughout the different organizations, then there's some are peering, but how is the data, where is the data going, and so on. It's actually eventually getting that access to data. That's why the big corporations are slow in the implementation of that. Any reflection?
Actually, yes, I wanted to ask you about if actually Telia says us that we cannot use officially ChatGPT to let's upload it.
inside in the intranet?
It's not like prohibited. Yeah, it's not prohibited, but it's not allowed as well. So
Gray zone.
yeah, it's in a gray zone in that sense. So it's I know that probably most of the managers actually, and me in particular as well, in some cases like in emails and so on, I use, and I know other managers as well use, but it's not in a company policy level like written down that yes, we are allowed to use. I think it will take some time.
Okay.
To that. Yeah.
And the question to see, actually, as I understood correctly, you have the UI AI, and actually you code is the property of your company. And if somebody checks this code using GPT, and it means that this code was shared to somebody outside of your organization, how to handle it?
Oh, yeah, that's like private property. Yeah, that's a difficult question. I haven't actually thought about it yet. Hopefully, nobody has run to go through the ChatGPT yet. Yeah, but how to handle this kind of situation when this would occur? I would say that, yeah, the systems are not so simple. You have multi-layered code, right? So you can, and I don't think there's any good coming from running it through your like complex code through this ChatGPT. Doesn't make it better, but maybe like a small algorithm that does like some data exchange, then that can be improved. But when you have like multi-objective code that serves one purpose, I don't know, like there's also connection with this, now that I'm thinking, there's also connection with this Wolfram, Wolfram AI, right? That is really good in physics. And you can use these physics models really fast by having, like giving some simple inputs. That's something that we should definitely look into, but I don't know if we have used it yet.
Okay.
There's no huge variety. I think I'm rather for using ChatGPT in our day-to-day even AI developments. I think it would be good. And I think down the line, we will be seeing AI in all spectrum in what we do. I think one of the biggest things that we want to go into even bigger time is to solve the customer relations, customer success with AI. Like imagine having a UI where you can just ask like, hey, how is my billing doing? You get the answer right away. Hey, why isn't my AC working? Or hey, why is the AC working so too loud? Right? You get an answer. Nice. Yeah. What can we do so it will become quieter next time we have the session? Let's see.
Yeah. Actually, from my point of view, I can add some more information about hiring if we have time for that. Valmet spends a lot of money, a lot of resources, quite a huge number of work hours to find specific candidates for specific roles. And we using usually we are using multiple sources like LinkedIn and different local like CV Gestus and other stuff. And if we could optimize or automate this process, it would save us a lot of money and a lot of resources for other stuff, or other activities.
Okay, so from the perspective of the university, you can probably imagine that having access to technologies, especially public evidence to such technologies, is a big problem. Like students who used to need to come up with answers to, let's say, tests where tests are open book tests, now can just ask chat, oh, hey, can you solve me this problem? And even in more difficult cases when there's the need to mathematically formulate a problem based on textual description, this GPT technology can also do that quite well. So for the university side, it's a big problem. And I must say that basically when this ChatGPT technology, which is based on the transformer technology, was injected into our everyday lives, we were not really prepared that well. So it was inevitable that this will happen, but we just didn't know when exactly this will hit like mass market. So for us, it is a problem, but where there's a problem, there's always a solution. And in this case, the solution is simply to adapt to it. So I guess for students, it might mean bad news in some ways. Like, for example, instead of doing like this written tests, we might now have to come back to, you know, these oral tests, oral examinations, where students have to really prove that they have the understanding of a given problem or something like that. Other than that, you know, like just thinking about the overall situation, there's a website I discovered by following somebody's Facebook post a few days ago, which is called There's an AI for That, right? So you can just Google it, and you can find all of the ways that people have used AI for like solving some particular issue. Whom you're sharing your data with, right? So like ChatGPT, it's so popular because they actually needed some data for retraining, right? So if you're using the API solution for which you actually pay money, or if you're using ChatGPT Plus, I think the end user license agreement specifically states that they will not be using your data for research purposes, but if you're just using the public version, sorry. So be wary of that.
Alexei, if I may ask you, since you're representing university, are there any official public guidelines for students using AI-assisted tools, or do you know are
Yes, right now we're kind of discussing quite a bit in the university, and eventually we will end up with a set of guidelines. I think with the next study year it should be ready.
Don't use. One sentence.
Okay, thank you. One more related question, maybe you can share some examples of new jobs or transformation of existing ones. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe we can start from this side. So this is a tough one from the university perspective because on one hand, I've been working as a researcher for more than 11 years. And so for me, looking at what this technology is capable of, like, okay, I may be reading a paper and then following up on some sort of data that is described there, maybe some captions, maybe some analysis of some data set somewhere. Now chat, or rather, I should be saying GPT 3.5 or GPT 4 can do this for you, basically. So you just feed it in there. So part of my work is being kind of moved over to that one. So that means that as researchers, even, we have to deal with these problems and we have to like adapt to them, to the new technology that is like being thrown at us at an increasing speed. So we just have to, like, for future careers and for future job opportunities, we might have some people who will not need like the skills of a skilled researcher, let's say, for a particular task. So we will be able to hire people that might be able to use this technology and deliver the results without like years of training, and then keep the research part for like something specific.
Yeah, even though I stated that we're not actually using it, but I've read some materials and gone through some we can say research. One of the areas that is actually developing in parallel with the AI usage is basically not particularly new like roles or jobs in that sense, but since current AI tools use text-based input, then we see that such role as prompt masters is actually a role. So basically, people who understand how AI inputs the text and phrase it in the most correct way to get the best output from it. So that's something that's on the rise, and that's not only from ChatGPT perspective, but the same way it works with the image creation. So since the AI, we don't really understand how it interacts with our input. So therefore, there are like tons of millions of experimentations on how to properly phrase your input. And I think one of the skills that looking into the future that workers will probably need to adapt to is how to interact with those AI tools.
Yeah.
Just go ahead. Very short comment. There's the near clip.
I haven't seen that yet.
AI to ask right questions from another AI. It's kind of endless. So you can go into loop. Okay, cool. I just wanted to say, like, when I went to university, there was that, okay, we have an increasing intelligence systems raised, right? So, but when I went to university there, or when I was studying, then DARPA funded the first autonomous vehicles, software developments, and all of this robotics. And then people were like, okay, everybody is going to lose their job.
It happens kind of every 10 years or so.
The first discussion on this topic was, I think, when the first PID controller was out. It was used for ship regulation, and then it was taken out of use because the ship crew felt that they will be out of job, right? And the actual industrial implementation happened many years later. So the history is full of these kind of examples, but what we see today is still that there's lack of workforce. There's more and more needed, more skilled workforce. I think this AI actually helps to increase global wealth. People are in better off eventually, and hopefully better decisions are also made to govern all that people with the AI help. So we become more better people. Thank you.
I have actually two stories about AI and future job position. One, my friends wrote me several weeks ago from Volt. He works in Volt in the analytic department, and he told, unfortunately, AI is so powerful, and he can do my job right now. But after several days, he wrote again and told me, okay, I have to still validate data because nobody believes to AI outputs. You have to somehow validate this data, especially if you have master of this prompt. You still need someone who will validate these answers because you cannot sell it to customer without any, evidence, without any statements that your algorithm, your output of your company product is reliable. And the second story was about. You already know. You can continue. That's okay.
Okay, we will come later.
After some years.
Okay, thank you. So I will say that these were kind of hidden questions. Now we're going to the questions of our discussion. And this is the question I think most of the people here are interested with your opinion and answers. And the question is, what type of skills do you think will be the most important in the era of artificial intelligence? And how students can now prepare them?
How to grow food. We'll use some artificial intelligence who will prepare food and beverages for my main question, because we now see that we have a huge transfer from the field, from smart Earth from Earth to the cities. And actually in Estonia, we see that in Tallinn we have already 425,000 and total number of citizens in Estonia is only 1,200,000. It's already huge disbalance in this case. And I think it will be very popular in 10 or 20 years.
Is there a
No,
Not yet,
not yet.
but Max will figure it out. I think that the risks that are actually already right now seen or felt by us will even possess more power when the AI is in mass usage. And therefore, I think that's one of the most critical skills, so not only skilled employees in the house, but overall people is basically critical thinking to understand and to validate as yourself whether the information that you're receiving and seeing is from a logical perspective valid or not. Because even right now, the information can be really easy to fake. We all know those fake video creators and AI tools that provide such content, and it's actually a massive security threat from the geopolitical situation. So, yeah, logical, critical thinking, that's probably my guess.
Yeah, I also wanted to say this logical critical thinking is the first thing. So think like this skill to ask the right question. That's something something that really becomes more valuable. And I hope really that the AI can teach us that as well.
Yeah, that's a really tough question. What skills you may need in the future concerning this AI explosion. But the truth of the matter is, in many ways, this AI stuff right now is a bit hyped, maybe overhyped. So don't be afraid of it too much. It's not going to replace all jobs at once, of course. So you will still need the skills that you have learned and you continue to learn in the university. But one thing that I agree with Maksimilian is some tangible skills are, of course, going to be really important because right now, okay, ask ChatGPT, grow me some food. Okay, it will not be able to do so. It will tell you, okay, I can teach you, I can like tell you what to do, but it will not do it for you. And so, in addition to that, one of the presentations also today covered this aspect is that apart from just theory, right? So it's not only about just computing some equations, doing some stuff like that. There's also producing some tangible stuff as well. So I would maybe recommend looking into something like that as well. So apart from just pen and paper or nowadays computer interaction, also think about some of that stuff as well, like what you can do in this age, which will also benefit like from some like building something, for example. Again, all of these AI solutions right now, what they rest upon and what they are basically where they stem from is the availability of like really huge data centers, right? And these data centers need cooling, electricity, and so forth and so forth. So there are a lot of these skills that, for support even of this AI age, let's say, will be really important. So my advice is to not give up on your skills. Just look at some of these positives as well.
I'd like to add. So we went through the critical and logical thinking, and yes, there is some limitation between the digital and the physical world. But what can we actually already learn to do right now is how to use AI properly, not in the sense that here I have a problem, give me the solution, but rather look, I have a situation and teach me how to solve it without turning to the day-to-day basis to the AI. So I think that's also one of the skills that you could teach yourself, how to actually use the AI for your own benefit, so that you would not be
dependent on the AI on a day-to-day basis, but how to use it as your basically private teacher in some sense.
Yeah, okay.
Now I remember the second story.
I promise you.
Yes, actually, 1 week ago we had one event for IT managers in IT companies, and the main question was about how their managers, how they see this, how they see the situation with AI, and is it has some effect the resources or something like that. And the common opinion was that we can cut off 30% of programmers. This is the most common opinion. And the question: can they use these free resources for new projects, or we have to acquire them?
Already several times we addressed this common fear that AI will take over workplaces, etc. So it will lead to significant job replacement, right, etc. So my question is: do you think this problem is important for your company? And did you take some actions? Did you address this?
So what do you mean?
Did you prepare your workers for some shift of roles? How to adapt to changes?
Since our policy doesn't state of using AI, some official responses again, no, we haven't had any trainings or that kind of activities yet. From the worker perspective, obviously it will displace, yes, people from their existing jobs and so on, but we had that previously as well. It has happened multiple times, and yes, there are some people that mostly people don't like changes. That's totally fine. But in this case, as we've seen throughout the last 10 to 20 years, maybe the toughest aspect of acknowledging or accepting that change is that it might happen really quickly. And that's probably towards which people should be simply open-minded and ready to accept it as it comes. Because fighting it, when the financial state that 30% cut off, you either accept it or not, it's purely financial decision. And then, yeah, people will need to probably adapt to it.
No, please start.
Okay. Yeah, so we're essentially like a company who takes away from people a job, right? But what we have seen is that when our system has been deployed in some projects, then actually nobody uses the job yet. But rather like these people have more time to work on the maintenance actually. And the general rule of thumb has been is that systems are under maintained. There's maintenance staff in every building where we go, in every system where we go. So there's actually now there should be resources so that they can be properly maintained and further improved as well. And on the people side, then I think like we need people who like I like this Tesla autonomous vehicle example. Right? We have now solved this autonomous driving for 99% of the cases, right? But we have still that 1%. And every year it's going to be 0.0% less, right? Or 0.1% less. But there's need to be data, there's need to be edge cases that will be further and further trained by the people. And then you have a new model out, and then you need to train that bloody thing again. So what I'm trying to say is that there will be always people who are like specialists in their domain or field, and who will be training and further improving the system. So, for example, we have in our company a lot of HVAC engineers, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, energy background, automation background, and they are all every day making sure that the systems
are actually working the way they're supposed to. Of course, we can automate also the part of the process, but it will be like there will be always new situations, always like the environment may change, so it needs to be continuously improved. So we're somewhat like continuously building a bigger system and more robust and more like better system. And I don't think there's ever an end to it. It's just this like evolution, continuous evolution further.
Just wanted to answer that overall, I think no company actually will probably lose in any case of any revenue from implementing AI. So probably they will adapt to it quickly because eventually each person can produce more with the help of AI.
You talked about company revenue, and my next question to you, actually very simple. Have you seen any updates in the company strategy to align with new changes?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, no official policy has been taken. So there haven't been any alignments on the revenue streams and so on. So everything that I currently share is my rather personal opinion and some what I see from the organizations where what kind of discussions are going on. But the moment when it's kind of implemented, then definitely it will be counted into that each person could be more efficient. So, but not yet.
Maybe it's interesting to say that we're all technology people here. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you go to some local municipality and ask, hey, how are you using AI today? How is it aligned in your company policy? Right? Or some real estate operator, right? Really hard. But I think there's like definitely industry parts that adapt to it really fast. Like these stock markets, I think there's multiple trials already, and every time somebody feels like, oh, I have it now, then it's the market changes, that it becomes a new norm, so it's not anymore the case. So yeah, it's just maybe industry specific. We are talking that it's really fast, it's here, we understand it, we take it to use really fast. We are this, as we're part of technology, we are the early adapters to this technology. But there's, I think we're only represented 10 to 20% of the people. So the rest of the people, they are coming when the technology has become mature enough, or there has become a high pass fast, and now it becomes to their everyday mobile phones, and becomes like some useful tool. And really cool thing is that I think we are the ones who are actually building the bloody tools for them, right?
Yes, just a brief comment. Job displacement. There's always that fear that whenever we create some additional technology, there will be like massive layoffs or something like that. But it may not necessarily come from the technology itself, right? That's one thing. But also what I wanted to mention is that even this ChatGPT technology, which is based on the transformer model, it's become more tamed recently. Maybe you have noticed, maybe not. I've been using it almost from day one just to kind of, for different purposes. I've used it for a lot of different tasks. And I can say that right now it's really like from the beginning, it took more risks, it gave me more information about certain things. It's now becoming a little bit dumber, if you will. So it's now like much more tame in what it can do. Maybe it's like policy on not hallucinating information, which is all it always does. So in that sense, I think the same thing goes for GitHub Copilot, by the way. So if any coders are out here, like, and if you used GitHub Copilot, you may have also noticed that it took more risks in the beginning. Then after a few updates, it became more tame, and now it's actually introducing bugs almost constantly, which makes it almost unusable. Which means that, like, even though these technologies are here, it's not necessarily they will be immediately used for displacing jobs and like they're laying off 30% of coders or something like that. That's a little bit drastic in my opinion, because who will replace them eventually? AI at the moment is not capable of doing that at scale still. And besides that, you do need massive infrastructure to support all that stuff. And that's a little bit difficult to achieve as well. So
I remember when I was in another conference quite recently, then from Telia as well, and a person said that you're gonna have this really cool fancy AI tools, or if you don't have it, you want to build them on your own, then you find these engineers. But the biggest problem is then align the whole company behind it. That we're gonna make it now, and then nobody wants this kind of change, right? And these human changes take a lot of time. This municipality example was really good. What I really like best is that you need to change a lot of people's processes and how they will start using some tool. What are the regulations? For example, Telia is a very technology company. AI regulation has been going on quite a while now. And hey, do we have a ChatGPT policy? No, we don't have, right? What is it allowed? No, it's not allowed, right? Is it prohibited? No, it's not prohibited. So we don't know, right? And that's just a really good example. Already is very even maybe faster technology company because we are building even faster, and we have this culture that we take everything that is the best, we take really fast to use, right? Because we have these people, you build a company with these kind of people, the technology, everybody has a similar mindset, similar culture, but then the company grows, then it becomes more slower, right? And just managing this, a lot of people, and then you have eventually thousands of people, everybody needs to start using the tools the same way. But this is only company perspective. In everyday lives, I think it's a little bit differently. What we prefer to do, maybe like farming, right? So thanks. Just some thoughts.
Thank you for this extremely interesting discussion, and have very interesting guests. And you were so active and generated a lot of questions. You asked the questions yourself, and we're really thankful. As a fun fact, I want to say that the questions that I have here, they were also generated using ChatGPT with some input, hopefully some proper input. This is the fact that it's the tool that we're using in our everyday life. We have some time also to take questions from the audience. If you have questions to all the participants or the personal question.
Okay, thank you. But could you describe AI in 10 years from now? What do you think what the future will be?
Good luck. My sister has a kid who's like 13 years old. I was like, okay, she's gonna enter the workforce in next 10 years. I wonder what's gonna look like then in the future. It's quite difficult to understand how it's gonna look like because there's a lot of technical things or like technology things that might happen faster and they might happen a little bit slower. What do I mean? So autonomous vehicle. What do you think yourself? Is it now? Is it that 10 years are on every corner there will be like a vehicle that is self-driving, or do you think the people will be driving the car?
Maybe in some cities.
Yeah. So like the technology moves quite fast on one side, and on the other side it might be very much delayed because there might be government policies, right? Vehicles have to be always driven by people. Autonomous vehicles are not allowed, right? Can be the case, but even though we have the technology there, but so this kind of like thinking at least gives a context that what kind of challenges are waiting us, or might it be that you don't have a driving license or driving licenses are not given out anymore because there will be only autonomous vehicles allowed on the streets. So I don't know what's the right answer, but it might be that at one point you're not allowed to drive the car anymore. There's only autonomous vehicles on the streets because that's the most safest, that's the most efficient, that's the most reliable, so on and so on. And is it going to happen in next 10 years or 20 years, or it doesn't ever happen? So and there's so many big things that can happen, and I don't know if it's going to happen, for example, in 5 or 10 or 100 years.
Yeah, I think I'll side Siim's answers and give maybe a similar perspective approach on the example of, let's say, our previous like 10 or 20 years. So there has been long ago some kind of estimation that the IoT or devices will eventually take over the world and so on, that they will be deployed in massive scale. What we actually see that yes, they are being deployed and they are being used, but at not such massive scale as the predictions were initially made. There are, as you mentioned, multiple limiting factors, not only the legislation, but we do happen to have some different geopolitical situation. We do happen to have some COVID-like situations, right? which actually changed the path upon which we are going. And yeah, predicting the future is always very, very tough. But maybe an example of how the world has changed, or what kind of jobs have come to life thanks to development of technology is, for instance, if you think of all the old scooters that are on the streets, right? You know that there is a person who actually deploys them there. So 10 years back, there wasn't such job. And I'm not saying like it's a fancy job or anything, but it's a problem that needs to be solved. Maybe in 10 years, we'll have some sort of a mechanic that will fix your AI or whatsoever. I mean, I'm just fantasizing, right? But we really can't say what kind of jobs there will be. But yeah, cleaners are still cleaners as we speak.
It will be more appreciated job.
Yeah. Anybody want to say?
Driving scooters.
Yeah, so how will AI look in 10 years? Now, the thing is, you have to consider what the exponential growth of technology actually means. So one of the things that you can think about it is that technology right now is, in some ways, because it's also fragmented, we have different kinds of technology, where AI is only one kind of technology that you encounter, but there are also countless others, like, for example, extended reality, that are also in some ways related, of course. But now think about it this way, that we have all of these different small parts scattered in the technology landscape, and then somehow they can be considered as Legos, and then we put them together in different ways, right? So the thing is, the more we have of those components, and of course we also have quite a lot of people in the world, everyone is doing something in this regard. If they're in technology and if they're in IT, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people either think about doing it or are already doing it, which means that eventually it will come to kind of all of these technologies will be married together. So we will have a kind of fusion of all of these different kinds of technologies, and this will accelerate exponential growth, assuming nothing goes wrong, right? Because eventually it might come down back to stones and caves and whatnot. Hopefully not, but just to give you an idea. So if everything goes well, and if technology continues to evolve in the same way, it will continue like the exponential growth, we might end up to what some people call singularity. So, and how I understand it personally is that we have the human intelligence, and we have the machine intelligence, which is not intelligent at all, by the way. So it's just advanced automation as it always was. There's nothing else to it right now. But if somehow it gets hold of what it means to be human in the sense of maybe some physical sense, like if we spend long enough in the metaverse, for example, and then we have like these different behavior cloning technologies, and suddenly there's some additional entity that gets born out of all of these interactions, then I think this, for me personally, in 10 years' time, this is how AI would look like. It would be able to replicate human behavior, and it would be a separate entity in some form. Not necessarily general artificial intelligence, but it will at least be comparable.
Maybe just a few words about this as well. Like, I really like to see like how this video technology has been evolving quite rapidly, right? So when you look at computer games 10 years ago and computer days today, you're like, wow, can't believe, right? I like to, like, when you think of the base that this technology is further evolving and where it's gonna go, then it's different, like this kind of meta universe or virtual reality, right? And we will be all part of it one way or the other. And that really leads me to thinking that maybe we're in a computer game right now, right? So this is also making a lot of sense, right? When we think that this artificial technology really evolves a lot, maybe we just can very easily tap into a computer game and then play it all through when it all felt like 1 hour, but actually, well, you feel like whole lifetime, but it actually was just 1 hour. So there's like this thing that people think that, hey, let's give us an amnesia shot. So you forgot everything else, but then you just go into the computer game and then you feel all this experience of these different things and you learn it. Then you come out of it and you're like, whoa, can't believe, right? This might happen, right? And I was just talking to a person who works in AR, VR, right? And they're like, oh, we're so much looking forward now. When are these Google and Apple glasses coming out finally, right? This will be a huge revolutionary thing because people are waiting already. They want to put their information. So everywhere you walk around, you get all the time more and more information. So this is actually what is this industry really waiting for. But so it becomes in a mass scale, something that really gives you in everyday life when you walk around, you absorb information, you get more and more smarter information. Yeah, so it will be definitely interesting, and I think it will be evolving, and it's hard to comprehend for me, but I like to think that the more options we have something to do, and more the technology enable us to do more greater, like cooler stuff, right? Space travel and all of this stuff. That's really cool, right?
I think I can hear.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think right now we are focusing on teaching young people how to use AI, but how could we adapt our teaching to older generations so they can also benefit from it?
Yeah, I think that's something that I'm really hoping for, this emotional AI part, and a lot of our my grandparents, my parents right now will be also at some point so old that some of their children, me or some of my sisters, right, need to take care of them. And I'm like super happy that by that time they will have like emotional AI or some buddy, that actually talks to them, entertains them and spends time. Then I think it's really cool. At least I hope my when I'm really old that I have this kind of thing that takes care of me.
Yeah, that's actually maybe one of the future jobs of people who actually teach older people to use AI as an everyday support or something. How you could ask ChatGPT on how to teach older people use AI right now. But I think with the older people, there's growing risk. For instance, in terms of using those digital tools. For instance, when I look at my mother, who's 71 years old, and I look at her, for instance, social media interaction. So she doesn't really understand exactly what kind of information is true and which content is not. And then again arises the risk of whether the AI gives a valid and true and is actually designed to help you instead of exploit you. So that's probably a risk that should be covered. But overall, I'm also looking forward to that AI will eventually, in some sense, help us maintain the whole humanity, and especially those people who will need more care. That's it.
And I think there are already some ChatGPT implementation towards this kind of emotional like for the psychological help as well, like helping people come out of stressful situations and so on. So this is already a really good thing. And the legal stuff, right? Legal is really crazy.
So this is an excellent question. Thank you. Wait. So, the thing is that I don't really think that older people will be really accepting this technology in its primary form of, let's say, communication. I think we should have like proxies who would maybe learn from ChatGPT or whatever, and then can just relay the message. I don't really think it's a big problem actually, because AI trust in the AI in general is a big problem, and probably Siim can also comment on it, because we're working in a company that is completely based on AI trust. Unless you trust AI, you will not get a service. So that's a big problem. And but I think in terms of just educating people, it might be relevant to kind of provide some proxies. Honestly, get like older people more involved with, let's say, their children or something like that. Through their children, they can actually learn some of these things, not necessarily from some computer screen that is blinking and typing some message. I don't think that's feasible.
And some moment older people will accept this.
When we
At least at the moment.
And the problem is that when we get old, like there will be something else,
Some other problem.
and then we can continue this discussion.
I can ask you the question, maybe just directly related to Maxim is process control. So do you think the artificial intelligence can replace the task of the control? Because for years I'm developing the self-automatic operation, which does not provide any tuning, for opportunity to the process dynamics, and they're afraid that in the future the AI can replace the all engineers.
It's a very good question, and it's difficult to answer straightforward. Actually, every company has own software. Not every company, but every big company has own software, and usually this software is closed or prohibited for sharing with other persons, like company policies and so on. And it depends on how quickly these companies will be ready to utilize these AI tools for own, how to say, tasks. Because 2 years ago, I will say that we will have another beautiful world after in 10 years. But having experience in a little bit higher management level, I see that all things are moving so slow. If you need to change something very small thing in your company, it might take years. And another fact or evidence, I will say that we still using quite often PID controllers. We have absolutely amazing new instruments, algorithms to how to control different processes. It doesn't matter, is it paper or pulp mill, or it's like simple ABB drive, but still we are using PID. Why? I don't have questions. I don't have the answer, sorry. I have only questions. And it's we in Valmet tried several times to change the situation in Estonia. My colleague Viktor Beldjajev proposed a new method how to control one gas boiler in Iru power plant. And yes, he did it. It works much better than PID, but still only one example in Estonia. That's all. Nobody, AI, it is a black box for us. We don't have any evidence or how to validate the answer properly, or evidence how to, not evidence, but statement, I don't know. When you sell something,
and or you would like to sell something to some customer, and this customer asks you about the quality of your product. What you can say in this case when all programs were made by AI with 2 or 3% of error. I don't believe that customers will be ready to utilize your device, your tool in case of production of energy. I mean critical production units like energy power stations or water treatment stations and so on. Is it okay as an answer for your question?
It's okay, but again, a lot of answer for your questions.
Answers, okay. Okay.
Okay, this is an interesting question and discussion. Maybe we can have a separate session to discuss this problem. It's a really good question. Thank you. Worth to discuss. So, questions?
You can also talk from here. It's a little more philosophical, but mostly from your views about like governing, starting from corporations and going into bigger scale, even like into governments and so on. How do you see the integration of the artificial intelligence will be there? Like, do you think it will be one of the possible futures, or will it be like more like dystopian, like there is always be big brother watching us, watching our every move, or how do you see like this kind of things will be in the future?
Thank you for this question. So, looking at some of the actions of our government, you could probably think that some AI algorithm is already working in there, and it's not very good. But in general, I think the main problem over there is, again, trust. So trust in AI, right? That's part of the problem. The other one is like you have to have a certain set of ethical considerations associated with those things. And I think this is one of the reasons why in Telia, for example, there's not a strict like rule for prohibiting ChatGPT or something like that, but they don't condone it. So it's like the policies are not yet there, and the policies should stem from ethical considerations. And I think we're currently, again, we're way like ahead in terms of technology, way ahead of the ethical considerations. So when we get that straightened out, hopefully we can actually get there in time until the world blows up. So hopefully we get there in time, the ethical considerations will be in place, and then sky's the limit of how we can use the AI technology as long as it is responsible use.
It will definitely depend on what's the current political situation in the government that is implementing the AI. So, for instance, in Europe, where it's all democratic and so on, and the end customer or the user is super protected, everything is moving super slowly. But that's the negative side of such protection. If you look at the Asia, then things are moving much faster there. But the cost is that the end user is not so protected and is rather being exploited because they don't really have other options. So, and that's eventually it's what will grow bigger, democratic or some other approach.
Yeah, so I think there were so many good examples, especially when we are also introducing our technology to some of the clients. Like there's the trust, like can we trust it, right? Or really cool at first, but can we really trust it? Like we want to see it as well in some of our real estate as well. So there's always the trust issue, and the larger the company, the bigger it is to make the change, right? Or the governments are really big. But I hope that actually one day there is this like I don't know what's the highest authority for this mankind? Is it the UN? UN maybe, as like people agree on some certain things, and then there's actually AI guiding the decision making because these are the 3 principles that we have all agreed, and then that's where we want to go. That would be really cool. Where we want to go, or what are the crises that we want to solve today, right? There's always like a lot of problems or a crisis. So if AI could guide us there, I think it would be really cool.
How can you incentivize companies to adopt the sustainable practices of your technology? You want to tackle it first?
So like a few years ago, it was quite hard, but today is that we have already such a good proven track record, and the technology has become quite mature as well. So people trust it, and they know that it works. But usually when you go into some new market, it's like that's a large chapter, but usually there is some different market entry strategies, how to bring a new product to the market, go-to-market strategies, and so on. And usually there's a small incentivization given to the first users and all the first buildings, and then you roll out from there. Did it answer?
So basically, you're saving 1 cent for the customer. 1 cent.
Usually it's more in favor of the customer. Customers many times get the value that we ask. We only ask cents, but they get thousands, millions, right? Right. So this is the general strategy that the customer wins more. But yeah, that's just like how to bring a new technology to the market. Then in every new technology, there's this market adoption curve. There's early adopters or innovators, early adopters, early maturity, late maturity, and then the final one are the laggards who really hate new things, right? And that's in every new technology that we bring to the market. And there's also this called jazz. So usually you get into some certain amount of market adoption with these early adapters. And if they don't raise the technology further, it doesn't go to the early market. So you have to cross some. So this early users need to become your huge fans, huge promoters, and then you get into the larger market, because then this product has proven itself, right?
Of course, there are probably different levels of, the solutions themselves, and their benefit is also questionable based on the problem they are solving. But I think the easiest, in theory, way how to incentivize the adaptation of new technologies to simply show what's the win for the customer. So in your case, how much costs they potentially could save.
How many people they can hire?
Either this way or with the financials, right? So that's for businesses, that's the main concern, right? What are the financials? And eventually those who don't adapt, they die simply off. It might take a long time, but they will die. Don't record me.
Too late for that.
Business-wise, it's like business thinks that let's increase profits or reduce costs.
Yeah.
Or get more revenue or reduce costs. But not all businesses, they always think like this.
And the 5G technology produce services.
What do you mean? Could you specify?
And a very surgeon. So it's maybe China or something.
Yeah. In theory, that is at least one of the use cases that should benefit from the implementation of 5G. Yes, in practice, those use cases are still like far from real world implementation. But overall, the practical tests and examples do show that the latency and the download and upload speeds are the main factors of such operations, and probably they will benefit because you don't have that skilled workforce distributed evenly throughout the world, and if enough infrastructure is being placed and there are relevant like output and input devices, then that will be possible. Would AI help us achieve that end result faster? Maybe if the relevant developers will use AI tools, but right now, the 5G I would say is quite in its early steps still, even though we are massively deploying it. The practical implementations are, or the practical like use cases are still with the private uses of higher and quicker bandwidth, and that's it. And of course, the stability connection is also.
Thank you. Thank you.
A little bit like very official answer. And
I've tried it. I've done that previously. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your answers and questions, and thank you for being here and being very active. I'm really impressed with the activity of all the participants, our guests. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so thanks very much from my side as well. All been awesome speakers. I'm looking forward to inviting you again to some of our events, which we will no doubt have. And of course, a big thanks goes to you, the audience. You make the event happen. We're just here for you. And with that, I think we will close today's session. So thank you very much, and hope to see you soon on one of our next events.